But first, let's bring in global commentator and Sky News regular Ayaan Hirsi Ali to commentate with us now on the events in the Middle East. It's been a remarkable 48 hours or so. It's still moving fast tonight, Ayaan. I'm sure you're across the latest talk that there's been already a breach in the ceasefire. I want to get your thoughts, though. You know this region better than anyone. You were raised a devout Muslim, so you understand what's at stake here better than anyone I can talk to on the program. Where does the region go now? Not just Iran, but particularly Iran, because we know their long-term aim isn't just acquiring nuclear weapons. They want a caliphate, they want jihad, not just against Christians and Jews, but also against their Sunni Muslim neighbours. Give us your sense of things.
So you know how in the West we have this cleavage where we say there are people on the left and there are people on the right. In that region, in the Middle East, the prevailing cleavage is that there are people who want the caliphate back, the radical Islamists like the Ayatollahs, and there are people who want to move forward. They don't want a caliphate. They want to be modern nation states like the United Arab Emirates, and maybe it looks as if the Saudi government may be willing also to let go of the promise of the caliphate and move on and become a modern nation state. So the reason why it's really important, in my view, to bring this particular regime down is because it's explicitly committed to exporting the Islamic revolution beyond Iran's borders. And it explicitly says in their constitution that they have to use subversion, terrorism, civil wars, proselytization, and other means. And these other means, that is this development of a nuclear bomb. And they regard America as the great Satan, Israel as the little Satan, and the Sunni governments like the Saudis, the Jordanians, the Egyptians, and so on, they regard them as Sunni apostates. And so this is a regime that is committed to repression at home and terror and expansion beyond its borders. And at this very moment, it is weak. And I think we have been doing for many decades, we've been sort of a half-done job. We would go into places and not really finish the job. And I think I'm of the viewpoint that we need to bring this regime down.
I'm of the view when you've got your foot on your opponent's throat, you keep it there. And I was a bit perturbed, I have to say, by how quickly the US president wanted to call the job done without any documented evidence, at least publicly, that all those nuclear sites and those assets have been completely wiped out. Give us a sense of what a caliphate really means, what a caliphate would look like, Ayaan. Particularly, let's assume they keep the bomb or keep the bomb-making capacity. If Iran and the mullahs had the bomb, how would they use the bomb to deliver a caliphate?
Well, first and foremost, they would wipe Israel off the map. There was one of their leadership who was asked as they were doing this enrichment, it was about maybe 17 years ago, and this leader, it may have been Nasrallah, he said, yes, we will use the bomb to wipe Israel off the map. And then he was confronted with the reality that Israel would retaliate. And he said, well, there are only 10 million of them, and there are 80 million of us, meaning 80 million Muslims in the region, and we will survive. And so they are committed to this goal, which they think of as a divine mandate. And it is apocalyptic. And I think the Western mind has a very hard time understanding what that is like. But the people of Iran who lived under this regime, they understand what it feels like, what it is like to live under Sharia law and under a caliphate. But the quest for the caliphate never stops. It is to change your society, to change your region, and then to change the whole world. That is why I think it is delusional for anybody to think that, oh, well, the Ayatollah is going to come rationally to his senses and that this ceasefire is going to hold. No, it's not going to hold because it goes against their commitment.
So you've written a wonderful piece where you call the action by Donald Trump as a civilizational moment. And I think that in itself, that form of words stops you in your tracks for people to understand that's exactly what we're looking at here. So regime change, is it possible? And if we have regime change in Iran, is this threat weakened?
The regime change is going to come from the Iranian people. They're ready for change. I was just listening to and following Reza Pahlavi, who is the son of the Shah who was ousted in 1979 by the mullahs and by radical Marxists. They are desperate for change. They just need a little bit of help from us. Iran is different from Libya and Syria. It's an old, ancient civilization, and the leadership in the diaspora of Iran and the people of Iran who reject this regime by, I think the last time I had the number 80%, they want to rid themselves of this, and all we need to do is help them. And I hope that that Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, that they rise to the occasion and that they don't stop at this moment where we say, oh, we've destroyed the facilities and so now we can move on. We can't move on. They're going to regroup. They're going to use terrorism in the region and beyond, and they're determined to build this bomb. Even if it takes them another 10 decades, they're absolutely determined, and that is why they have to be completely removed. And so the people of Iran want to do it. We just need to help the people, and instead of throwing the Ayatollah a lifeline.
This will be a continuing conversation. Ayaan Hirsi Ali, thank you.